Celtics are up 2-0. They are now 2 wins away from Banner 18. All the post-game shows and analysis have ended for the evening, which means it's now time for Celtics Late Night. Ben Vallis here, along with Jake Eisenberg. Jake, how are we doing?
Yeah, all the shows like to operate in a normal time. They're all wrapped. They're going to bed. Now it's time to party just a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, I think we've earned that.
Bit. We've earned that. It's been a long year. 2-0. Not going to get ahead of ourselves. A lot of work to do still. But Phoenix, someone in the chat right now. We aren't Phoenix and that wasn't the finals. Look, 2-0. That's what I wanted to feel though. 1-0 felt good. 2 days of people getting very, very confident. I can only imagine what the next 2 days are going to look like, but sit back, relax, enjoy the feeling.
So good to just again have another 2 days of cool, we won again. Let's be happy for 2 days while we wait through another little mini basketball drought.
So I have a little thing does only matters to fans and people that are chronically online like us and a lot of people that are listening to this right now. So 2 days off between game 1, game 2, 2 days off between game. Actually, no, this is not going to work. Because there's only 1 day off between game 3 and game 4. Actually, no, it does work. So if we do lose game 3, it's a short turnaround. Yes. That's a good thing. So we get to revel. I should have just trusted myself. I had a little bit to drink. Had a couple of beers, been to the beach, been back. So we get to revel in 2 victories with 2 days off. If we do lose game 3, it's 1 day off and then we're back for game 4. So as far as a online consuming podcast, experience, this is where you want to be. You want to be up 2-0, quick turnaround from game 3 to game 4.
Yeah, minimal suffering.
That's right.
We can go, as LeBron would say, 0 dark 30 to take that movie title completely out of the right context for that 24, 48-hour period between Game 3 and Game 4. Sam LaFrance from the How About Them Celtics podcast may parachute in from his vantage point there, much closer to the TD Garden at some point once him and Jack have finished recording their show, just to hang out with us here a little bit on Celtics Late Night. Hello to everyone in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Love to have you guys here. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. 105-98. Another game of holding the Mavs under 100 points. They did get significantly closer this time. Started off with a little Tony Brothers flavor, some questionable foul calls, Jake, some stoppages. Tough to develop rhythm, really, for both sides. But the Celtics defense normally will jump straight into player of the game here, Jake. But to me, it felt like this was truly a team win, especially with a pretty poor shooting performance all round for everyone not named Drew Holiday. But the defense, Jake, Jaylen said the Celtics actually needed to be better defensively. He said that after the game and cited many miscommunications. But, Luka Doncic, he had 8 turnovers. Kyrie Irving completely contained again. KP, he held up in his drop coverage. Horford switched well and guarded Luka well on those possessions. Luka was completely worn down by the fourth quarter. I was freaking out in the playback, Jake. Luka, we can't have this. Luka, fourth quarter is going to kill us. And you were just hang in there. You're very much aligned mindset with Joe Missoula. Me, I'm sitting there absolutely shitting my pants. But fortunately, we've got cooler heads than mine in the playback stream there. And then big defensive plays down the stretch, including this absolutely sick late block with Mike Breen completely in his bag to close the game.
Tries again. Tatum to the rim. Shot blocked. Derek Jones with the rejection. Here's Irving. Washington drives. Blocked by White. Oh, what a block from Derek White.
That's the LeBron call again, but for fucking Derek White, man.
Derek White. I don't understand how he does it because he's not that tall and he can't jump that high. But he's so good at protecting the rim. He had the one that they call the goaltend, which was a goaltend, but purely because his thumb was on the inside of the rim, which was a complete guess by the referees. The defense in this game, man, look, man, Ben, you've got to embrace the killer whale, the orca mindset.
Yes, I don't care. Apex predator.
I don't care what the great white shark does in the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter. We are sticking to the game plan. We're operating as an elite killing unit. And by the time we get to the fourth quarter, we're just ripping these guys limb from limb. I think if you want to talk about the defense, it starts right here. Second half, first half, Luka was 9 for 13, 23 points. Ends the game 12 for 21, 3 for 8 in the second half, and 1 for 6 in the fourth quarter. Kyrie Irving, 4 for 5 from the field in the first quarter, ends the game 7 for 18. Joe Missoula is a mental alpha, dude. I don't care what you're going to do in the first quarter. I don't care what you're going to do in the second quarter. You're going to have to prove it to me for an entire game. And not just for an entire game, for multiple games. You have to come out here and drop. I don't know how much Luka's going to have to do to get Joe Missoula to put 2 on the ball. Because he is just not going to do it, man. He's going to cut the lobs off. He's going to cut the corner threes off. And Luka Doncic is going to have to score 50 plus. For them to just like have continued sustainable success. He had 11 assists. They did get going a little bit. Don't want to pretend like this was like a walk in the park. No, I was shitting my pants for a good portion of this game.
Of course. Yeah, the Mavs played so much better. It was a much better performance by the Mavs, and probably met halfway by a lesser performance by the Celtics as well. And that there's probably some nuance to the latter part of that statement where, especially early, it felt like we were generating really good quality looks, and we missed, especially in the first quarter, really open 3-point attempts. And then in the second quarter, we kept jacking up threes, but I feel like the Mavs defense, their closeouts, they got a little tighter. But we're well and truly out of rhythm, and as a team, maybe lacking confidence. It was good to see some of those clips throughout the game of Jaylen Brown and his leadership, gassing up the guys. Just be like, have confidence in your shots. Let them fly. If you've got open looks, let them fly. We did. We kept letting them fly. And fortunately, late in the game, some very critical ones went in. But it was a tough shooting night, and that's why it feels like such a mature win, Jake, from the Celtics, because they just stuck with it. They won the game with, by winning on a lot of the margins, the important margins, and just defensively staying true to their game plan. We should run this Joe Rainman clip, Jake, because his like 20-second assessment of the game. I've got it right here. Is just incredible.
Listen, you got to take a look at. We gave up a 26-point first quarter and then 3 25-point quarters. In the 26-point first quarter, we fouled a 3-point. We messed up the 2 for 1 and fouled a 3-point shooter for 3 free throws. Luka gets 2 shooting free throws. We give up a transition basket to PJ Washington. PJ Washington hits an above the break 3. That's almost 70% of the points there. So that the game was going the way we wanted it to go, outside of the things that we can control.
I have no idea what he just said. I have no idea what he just said. I have no idea what he said. But he's locked the fuck in, dude. If LeBron James came out and did that, it would be leading every sports show around the world. Because, oh my God, if Spoelstra did this, everybody would be losing their mind. And we can go into some of the Joe stuff, but like the mentality of this team is everything, man. And we've been talking about it. Like Ime was the basic bitch when it comes to mental alphaness. He was comfortable calling Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum a bitch. He was comfortable calling Grant Williams a pussy. But you know what? Joe Missoula is the real mental alpha here, and the mentality of that team, of what he's trying to imprint on this team is we're seeing it on the fucking court, man. Like Jason Tatum goes 6 for 22. We weren't built to survive these types of performances in years previous, but we never let missed shots impact how we were playing on defense. Not for a second. Not for a second did we let how we were playing on offense impact our defense. We didn't let anything impact how we were playing on offense. Despite us missing shots, we kept generating good looks. We kept sticking with it. Possession after possession after possession. The athleticism and the will of Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White, and Drew Holiday in particular, those 4 guys, just possession after possession, sticking with the game plan, sticking with the belief in the system, in the Missoula ball system. And eventually, the dam's going to break one way or another. Like, this is the game they should lose. But the fourth quarter, they put up 22 points, but they were 4 for 9 from 3. 2 for 3 from Derek, 1 for 2 for Drew, 1 for 2 for Jason Tatum. And that was the only quarter of the game where they went off, but like they got up 9 threes in that quarter. 4 of them went in, 2 turnovers. It's like an elite quarter to close it out, despite tiny little sphincter clench at the end.
Yeah, well, on that, I've got the tweet here somewhere from Greeny on the clutchness of this win. The Boston Celtics improved to 5-0 in clutch games this postseason with an offensive rating of 127.9, a defensive rating of 83.3, good for a plus 44.6 net rating. Thanks for that, Greeny, friend of the show, who is going to come back on at some point between now and Game 3 because we keep having Greeny on and we keep winning, and no one's more aware of that than Greeny. So he's probably already in our DMs asking when he can come back on the show. But PJ Washington was quoted after the game saying on what regarding what makes the Celtics different to all the other teams they've beat in the West so far. Quote, "They're just better. At the end of the day, they are better than all the teams we've played. It's the finals, and we've just got to be better." Which is a really just solid acknowledgement from a team and an opponent that
Finally,
should be thinking more oppositionally than that. But for him to just kind of give us our flowers when the series is, in theory, still very much alive. Like they're going to go home. They haven't had a chance to play any home games yet. And for him to kind of just give us our flowers like that, I think is pretty telling. But look, in all the postseason debriefs that we've done, right after being knocked out of the playoffs or the finals or whatever it's been the last few years doing this show, the general consensus has been this team's really talented. They've got a lot of promise, but they're clearly a team that are led by 2 guys in their early to mid-20s. And there's a lack of maturity there that unfortunately, despite Al Horford being the savvy vet or whoever, despite the breadth of talent and depth of rotation, that immaturity in their youth cascades down through the whole team. And now the Jays, through the tutelage and the mindset that you speak of, Jake, with Joe Missoula, they've just breached that barrier. And now that is no longer an issue. And the maturity in this win, I'm going to keep using that word, really stuck out to me because we've seen it go the other way, man, so many fucking times. And to see them just keep their heads above water and win this game the way they did, absolutely incredible. And now I'm going to keep saying this again as well. 2 wins away from an NBA title. God, it feels good. Feels good.
I love that. Thank you for saying that. And I remember in the midst of the Miami Heat series in the bubble, 21-year-old Jason Tatum. And I remember thinking God damn, I wish we had 26-year-old and 28-year-old Jason Tatum right now. Mm-hmm. I remember thinking in the 22 finals, I wish we had 26, 27-year-old Jason Tatum or 28-year-old Jaylen Brown. This is not Jaylen Brown's playing the best basketball of his career at age 28. This is not a surprise. Not a surprise, dude. Big surprise after all of these years of us being I can't believe how good we are with these guys being so young and everybody just disregarding that aspect of the Boston Celtics because we don't care because they've been here already. Well, guess what, man? Just because they've been here and they've been so good and they've been poised enough to get there so many times does not erase the fact that they are young and does not erase the fact that they are going to continue to get better and better and better. DJ Daniel points out JB's only 27 years old. How dare I short him a year here? And Jaylen Brown, man, especially Jaylen Brown. And I was thinking about this just with how well Jaylen Brown's playing. I'm like, yeah, man, what's Jason Tatum going to look like in 18 months? What's Jason Tatum's always a year behind, in development from Jaylen Brown. These guys are going to continue to get better because that's the type of people that they are. Steph Curry became the person that he is because of not just pure talent. For whatever reason, his fingertips are connected to his brain in a way that other players aren't. But his work ethic, LeBron James doesn't become who he is without his work ethic. And I'm not saying that Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum are these guys, but can you max out who you are every year based on work ethic? I'm going to unlock as much as I possibly can. Can I work on my weaknesses? Jaylen Brown, there's too much. I can't say enough about how impressed I am about what he's done in this postseason, and then he has that left-handed finish in the clutch there to put the game away, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Just so solid, man. Incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get to more Jaylen as we run down the individual performances in this one. One final defensive highlight here before we move on to some individual
Pritchard
stuff.
tries again. Tatum to the rim. Shot blocked. Derek Jones with the rejection.
That's the wrong play.
Doncic has to throw it. White with the steal. Holiday to Horford. Holiday a three. Bang! Drew Holiday from downtown. Lead back up to 11.
The banger from Mike Breen, and that's the stock exchange, deflection from Drew, steal from Derek, back to Drew, pulls up for the timely three to really, at that point, that there was a Mavs run after that, but that play gave us the buffer that we needed to endure that run, and that is really the play that, in hindsight, put things this one is probably the individual that we should start off with in our individual assessments. Just ran a highlight of a Tatum missing a dunk. Yeah, thanks. Sorry. We're all excited here.
If you're watching on YouTube, Ben just ran because the Derek White block on PJ Washington was preceded by a Tatum getting blocked at the rim. So thank you for running that.
I fat fingered that one. But you just saw the play, the actual relevant play to my point here as we segue to Drew Holiday.
So what happened there? What happened in that play? Like, did PJ Washington think that he was about to commit an over a back or an 8-second violation or something? Because I don't know why he passed the ball back to. I mean, like they put enough pressure on. Yeah, look, man, shit gets tight in the Garden with 5 minutes to go, trying to make a play to get this thing done, and he, shockingly, hasn't been built. The Bane, famous quote is like, "You were merely adopted the dark. I was molded by it." PJ Washington was molded by fucking the Charlotte Hornets, dude. It's not super surprising that he kind of shit his pants a little bit in a tense moment there. But yeah, I don't know what it was. Yeah, like he had he had 1 foot on either side. I'm not sure what was going on. The important part is that both Drew Holiday and Derek White were locked in and trying to force the action there. And the fact that Drew Holiday took that shot, bro, like, you could just bleed the clock. You're trying to get the game. There it is. Brad Stevens looking longingly at Drew Holiday at signing day. I mean, yeah, man. Drew Holiday's been incredible, but like the confidence and the big nuts to just get that steal, and he's done that all year long though. All year long. He's taken when the season started, as we adjusted, he was like jet lag, going from Marcus Smart time over to Drew Holiday time, and being like, these pull up threes, don't do it. Yeah. And now it's like, the guy's money. The guy is money.
It wasn't always sunshine and lollipops though. Like, there are plenty of those yes shots were no shots like in the first half of the season before he really turned it around, especially from the corners. But yeah, those above the break threes, there was a lot of like, Drew Holiday doesn't really know what he's doing in the flow of this offense yet, and he hasn't really properly integrated himself into the team. And now he's like doing that less, and when he is doing it, it's at way more opportune times, and he's hitting them way more efficiently. And like, that shot could have gone so poorly. You could have got the long rebound bounce off the rim into a semi-transition Luka or Kyrie, and it could have been easy, quick points down the other end. And he wasn't like wide open either, but he just pulls the J and knocks it down to again give us the buffer that we needed. But Drew Holiday, 26, 11, and 3 on 11 of 14 shooting from the floor, 17 first half points. Tatum had, I think you've got some stats on this, Jake, but yeah, Tatum had at least 5 assists to Drew, and many of them in the dunker spot, and or on really solid, timely cuts from Drew as well. And maybe after we get through these individual performances, we can zoom out on this, but just the guard and the dunker spot scheme for the Celtics is starting to really pay dividends there as well. But thoughts on Drew Holiday, Jake?
I mean, I'm waiting for the playoff drop to happen. When's the playoff dropping happening? Because this dude has been so fucking good, both ends, and just the confidence outside the arc, inside the arc. This is actually a hilarious tweet here. So if you're again chronically online, Nathan Marzion, the king of the Milwaukee Bucks Twitter, has been active about Drew Holiday and all kinds of stuff, both positive, negative. but he posted this today. I need to find out what website it is because it's awesome. It looks awesome. But the tweet is, Tatum will rightfully get hate for shooting 6 for 22, but he created 27 points off his passes. And of his assists, 6 of them were to Drew. Drew received 6 assists from Jason Tatum. I got the numbers here. So of Tatum's 12 assists, 6 of them were to Drew Holiday for 13 points, 3 to Derek White for 8 points, 2 to Jaylen Brown for 4 points, and 1 to Kristaps for 2 points. Yeah, man. Like, I guess in theory, if you want to get a little crazy and start talking about Finals MVP, I've seen some Drew Holiday stuff floating out there, but like, it's all happening because of Tatum. Like all of his, like finding him in the dunker spot, finding him on the perimeter, it's happening because of Tatum. But Drew Holiday, man, like he's in the right spots. He's just making she's making the shots, dude. Just at some point we talk about the orange ball. It's got to go in the basket, and he has been so efficient all over and over again, all playoffs. And so the guy's been fantastic. You're on mute. I was wondering if you're going to realize, but you're on mute.
I did not realize. Apologies. You said it about Tatum on the last late night show, how he's the straw that stirs the drink, but we needed someone to hit shots in this game. Somebody. And thankfully, Drew was that guy in this one who hit all of his opportunities with efficiency, but so much, like it wasn't like he was like crazy from beyond the arc. There was a lot of those cuts and making himself available to Tatum. So like a really solid tandem performance there. And man, I wish we could get Nathan Marzian with Drew as part of that trade as well, because like to have the focus of some of these elite stats guys from other teams.
I know,
like,
he's good.
Focusing on our guys, it's really nice. It's a really good time of year for your team to still be playing basketball. Jason Tatum, we called his game one performance a sneaky good Tatum game. This bordering on not sneaky good, like just straight up good. Obviously, the shooting was terrible, but he gets basically an 18-point triple-double. He was 1 rebound shy. I think him and Jaylen Brown had more assists combined, they did, than the Dallas Mavericks, which is incredible. Almost as many combined assists. Which goes to show, again, that maturity from both of those guys as far as playmaking out of defense that works to limit their shooting opportunities. And the Jays were 2 of 12 from 3 in tandem there. But yeah, Jason Tatum, the rim reads, I think, and this is not new, but the rim reads were really solid in this one. They seemed to get gradually better as the game went on, Jake, where the Mavs, that is, did a really good job of making sure that there was always a defender waiting at the rim for him. JT was awesome at breaking his defender or cracking his defender off the dribble. It seemed like it was like barbecue chicken as far as getting past Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford or whoever was guarding him, Luka Doncic on many occasions, and getting to the rim. Mavs did a great job of sending a late help defender, cutting off his drive, and then as the game went on, JT was just fucking awesome at making the right play, getting the ball out to whoever was open, and us generating offense out of that. So he was sick.
Yeah, man. Like, it's stunning to me how good he was in a 6 for 22 night. And also shout out Eric Weiss, just friend period at this point. He's been awesome since the inception of this podcast. But
come to Vegas, Eric Weiss. Have a beer. He's going to celebrate this chip. Yeah, that's great.
To quote Eric Weiss right now, come on, motherfuckers! There's 215 of you sickos reveling in the victory. Hit the fucking like button. I agree. It takes you like half a second to move your goddamn mouse to the like button and just hit that thing. So get in there, hit the like button. But Jason Tatum, for him to be this good on a 6 for 22, I keep wanting to say 2022, 6 for 22 night.
20 of 22 would be really nice. Maybe game 3.
20 He's going to make some shots, right? And also to the Knicks fan in the chat here, you and me both, Eric Weiss. We're both drinking a little bit here. Congratulations to the Knicks on making the second round for the first time in, I don't know,
the Knicks are back.
Years.
Bing bong.
Congratulations, Mr. Bing Bong. You guys aren't beating us next year, year after. I'm not really
sure how much about the Knicks right now.
Yeah. How good the Celtics need to be for everyone to realize how good the Celtics need to be to realize that there's no chance of any East teams kind of competing with us for the foreseeable future. But Jason Tatum, to be as good as he was in a night where he goes 6 for 22 is, it's a sign of growth to have those 12 assists to 3 turnovers. He played 45 minutes and he was a +6. Kristaps Porzingis ends up being a team high +12. But, game in, game out, the shooting numbers are going to be what they are. But Jason Tatum is the guy that makes this team go. Jaylen Brown plays 42 minutes tonight, and he's a -3. And I'm not saying Jaylen Brown played badly tonight. This is just about how Jason Tatum impacts the Celtics offense. He is the guy that gets this thing going. And, he's the reason we're able to put someone on Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford so that it completely short circuits the Mavericks offense and they do not get to do what got them here by throwing those lobs. He has become a defensive cheat code in the playoffs. And it's just like, I don't care how you value scoring, whatever, like that is just invaluable for him to be able to do what he's able to do. Him and Jaylen, like they deserve equal credit for being this impactful and this good. But like Jason Tatum being who he is, size-wise, durability, availability, that's why the Celtics are able to do what they're able to do defensively in the playoffs.
Yeah, and it was clear that the Mavs were, I thought, like targeting him quite a lot in this game. I don't know why necessarily, because he's an incredibly good defender who can defend basically 1 through 5. And we saw, he lost a couple of, those post-up defense possessions on Gafford. But for the most part, he held up really well. And I don't really understand the approach there from the Mavs. It's a little spicy and like, oh, what if we do this? What if we go at your best player? And it's like, well, our best player can shoot really badly, like you've just said, Jake, and still have a really impactful game because of how good he is defensively, and he doesn't wear down. Like, he was right there at the end making plays. One of his threes, his only 3, he shot 1 of 7 from 3, was that like corner 3 on a fast closing out Daniel Gafford late in the game where he could have had every excuse for being completely worn down at that point, as was Luka Doncic at that point of the game. But he's just so well conditioned for those moments through so many deep playoff runs and just generally being a good athlete, again, relative to Luka Doncic, relative to any human that has ever existed. He was incredible. So I don't necessarily think I don't think they'll go with that approach again, Jake, as far as going at Jason Tatum. It seemed a little folly in hindsight.
Like, we're attacking Luka on defense to wear him down, right? So I'm wondering if, because like Jason Kidd said his thing about Jaylen Brown being the best player and trying to stir shit up, whatever. The way they're defending Jason Tatum, it's pretty clear who the Dallas Mavericks think is the best player by the way that they are collapsing the defense and stuff like that. So like if they want to like wear him down, if they're thinking maybe if we go at him on the other end, we're going to put Luka, get Tatum in the post. Let's get a few, shots that way. Let's make Tatum work on the other end. Maybe in the fourth quarter, Tatum's not going to be collapsing the offense when we get to their fourth quarter. But in the fourth quarter, he was still awesome. Like, I mean, he ends up 1 for 7, but has the 2 assists, 2 for 2 from the line. He doesn't wear down, man. And so I'm wondering if that's the strategy. Is it like, there's Dad in the chat here. It's not Luka Magic, it's Luka Doughboy. And we've got the parachute. He's coming in from the top here.
Here he is.
I got here just in time to call Luka a fat slob. It's fantastic.
Hell yes.
That guy didn't want to play any defense tonight. And he's the reason why Tatum had 1 billion assists and more potential assists, because he was just like, oh, I'm just going to stand here and you can dribble right past me because I'm too tired.
Dude, yeah, that's that. So, like, we were talking about, like, okay, the Mavs seemed to be targeting Tatum a little bit in the first half and kind of throughout the game. And I was wondering, like, are they hoping that by the fourth quarter, then Tatum isn't going to be able to be the guy that's cooking Luka over and over and over again and getting the offense moving for the Celtics? The answer is no to that question, but I'm wondering if that's why they were going at it. And also, you've got to go at someone. It's like, the Al Horford thing in the first game didn't work that well. Right. Jaylen Brown's clearly the worst person to go at. Drew Holiday, I mean, he's just like the Great Wall of Holiday. Like, good luck banging into that guy for 48 minutes. So, like, body type wise, it kind of makes sense to go at Derek and Tatum. And it's like, okay, well, let's go at Tatum because Derek White's not going to get gassed because his load on offense isn't super heavy. I'm just thinking maybe that's part of the thinking, but also they have to attack someone with the way that the Celtics are playing defense. So may as well try the Tatum button. But by the time we got to the fourth quarter, Tatum was good to go. We got the game clinching steal on Kyrie Irving. Like, he was good to go.
Yeah, the best part about the Mavs is they're just addicted to trying to get Luka the easiest possible defender in a switch, which the entire NBA is guilty of. It's not just him. As much as I want to make fun of him. But, like, he just looks down the Celtics lineup and he's like, oh my God, there's nobody for me to try and target. They have, like, this little white guy, Pritchard, and he did a little decent job on him. But overall, there aren't many guys for him to attack. Like you said, if you're picking on Tatum, that's your guy. That's the guy you want to go at, the 6'9" guy with long arms and he can move laterally and stuff. Like, Porzingis is probably the weakest one, and they didn't even get a chance to really go at him today. So good luck to the Mavs. I don't know what to tell you in terms of the Mavs. They seem like they've exhausted everything. Jason Kidd pulled the mental warfare after one game. He thought his team was cooked that bad that he was like, all right, guys, we got to try this one.
Yeah, he tried the verbal equivalent of the, like, please run into me while I'm holding this drink and knock it over on the court and cause a delay. And it didn't work. It didn't work, Jason Kidd. So better luck next time. And first of all, we've got to say welcome in Sam LaFrance from
Thank you, Sam, for being here.
You might say the better half. I don't know. I don't want to throw shade at Jack of the How About the Celtics podcast.
Jason Kidd warfare.
Yeah, Jason Kidd warfare. You guys are trying to tear our podcast apart.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I'd say exactly Jack does a lot of the legwork. He's the one editing them and everything. I think he gets the credit.
So Jack's the Tatum, Sam LaFrance, he's the one who's crossing people up, dunking on, Sam.
I'm like the Luke Cornett. I'm just there to make people laugh.
So, Sam, welcome. We're very happy to have you. We've covered a lot already. We've covered the defense and Drew Holiday and Jason Tatum, but we'll zoom out and just ask you, like, what are your sort of broader, immediate takeaways from this game?
Yeah, the best part about this game is they really weren't supposed to win this game. Like, from the jump, it was just like you could do a draft pregame, right? You could be like, what are the things that would happen that would make you think the Celtics would lose this game? And you'd be like, okay, Luka goes off. Tatum can't buy a basket. The Celtics can't make any threes. Kyrie gets off to a good start after being awful in game one. Like, you're just going down the list. You're like, what am I watching in this first quarter? And you look at the score and you're like, wait, what? They're down 3 after the first? From that point on, I felt pretty good about this one. I'm usually like sitting there sweating. I mean, I had the heart monitor on for this one.
Yes.
I did it playoff high.
What are the metrics?
Playoff high, surely. Well, fill us in. 107
as they were doing everything they could to lose this game in the fourth quarter as if it was game 7 against Miami 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They just refused to put the game to bed.
Yes.
But shout out to Derek White and Jaylen for maybe fouling PJ Washington, but also blocking his shot and icing the game. But
playoff foul.
Overall.
Fair playoff foul.
Certainly found money. Like, this was a huge found money game. Didn't expect them to win it the way it went, and they did.
Yeah, like the entire game, it felt like how are we winning? We're winning this game currently. We're up 4, we're up 3, we're up 5, and Mavs would make a run, they'd get up 2, and we'd just be like, man, we're so close to going on a run here, and and eventually we did, and like ironically, it ended up being the fourth quarter. I'm interested by what the national narrative is going to be. Is there going to be a Celtics almost shut their pants narrative a little bit at the end? Because, like, if PJ makes that, what was it going to cut it to? 5?
3.
Or was it
3?
Cut it to 3? With what, like less than a minute to go?
Yeah, that was peak pants shitting time for all of us watching that game. That was when we were starting to think, oh, same old Celtics, just for a little microsecond there. But the same old Celtics don't save us all in that moment with the best collaborative defensive play of all time there, with Jaylen and Derek both getting the block / maybe foul at the same time there.
But like the fourth quarter was 24-22, and like,
is that what it
so
was?
you can always over-index a little bit, like in a specific moment, similar to Game 3, and it's like, oh man, we saw a glimpse of the bed-shitting Celtics, But like, at some point we have to zoom out and be like, they are like human, and basketball teams give up runs. Like, how many games do you watch when teams go into prevent basketball in the last 2 minutes when they're up 9 or whatever? It just is a thing that happens, and like, it often feels like a team like gets all the way there, and the Mavericks basically had to play perfectly in order to like not just win, like to force overtime. They would have had to have been pretty much perfect, and so you just need a couple of bounces to go the other way, and thankfully they did. But yeah, man, like this, you had to win this game if you're the Mavs. Like a little luck is involved, obviously. Like, the Celtics shot badly, the Mavs also shot badly. But again, you go back to the volume of threes. The Mavs actually shot less threes today. They were 6 for 26 tonight, and I believe they were 7 for 27 in last game. And the Celtics ended up getting to 39 attempts. Like, the Mavs were doing a good job limiting the Celtics' three-point attempts throughout the game. But then in the second half and into that fourth quarter, they had 15 attempts in the third quarter. And that was when it was like, we felt like we were rolling. It was like, okay, we're this close to breaking this thing over and it being over. And it didn't quite happen, but it was right there for us.
Yeah, it was right there. I'm just glad we won because man, it would have been such a disappointing loss. And the feeling of being up 2-0 is amazing. Now, we talked about Jrue Holiday, but Sam, now that you're on, we've got to get your reaction to this tweet, and I'll read it out for the benefit of the audio listeners. It's Sam LaFrance tweeting out a quick look over on Bucks Reddit, and the Bucks Reddit post is Jrue is carrying the Celtics to a championship. I feel sick. Sam, one of the things I love about you the most is your ability to quickly swoop in on an opposing team's subreddit and grab the Schadenfreude and bring it into the spotlight for Celtics fans. So what were your thoughts reading that post on Bucks Reddit?
Yeah, first and foremost, have to shout out the Reddit algorithm. Just kind of popped up for me. Didn't even have to go look for it. I was just kind of scrolling as I was like taking a quick breather before I did my heart monitor article. I love me some Milwaukee Bucks subreddit. They hate the Celtics, but they love Jrue, so they're always like so torn. And this has to be like their worst game ever. He just willed the Celtics to a win. He was in the right spot every single time on both ends of the floor, right? He has that huge deflection that leads to the panic of an 8-second violation, and then Derek White pick, and then he hits a 3. And then he was in the dunker spot a billion times. Like, is Jrue the greatest dunker spot guy ever that doesn't dunk? Maybe.
Yeah, dude. I mean, maybe this is a good time to talk about that thing that they've been doing throughout the playoffs, but it's become quite evident in this specific matchup because of how important the rim protection of the Dallas Mavericks was. So it's like, yeah, the Celtics can go 5 out, but they like to have someone around the baseline, easy dump off, and instead of it being Kristaps or Horford, which is often where if it's not Lively or Gafford, it's going to be PJ or Derek Jones Jr. that are guarding those guys. Go one step further, whoever's guarding Derek White or Jrue Holiday, it's going to be their smallest player. So you have those guys around the baseline. And so when Jaylen and Jason attack the rim, there's no rim protector there. And even if both guys converge, then it's an easy dump off to Jrue Holiday and Derek White, who have finishing along the baseline. It's become a staple. It's become a staple of this Celtics offense throughout the playoffs, and especially in this matchup where the rim protection is so important. I mean, Missoula's in his bag, dude. Mentality-wise, he's got these guys ready to go, but then schematically, dude, he is refusing to budge on defense, and then offensively, he has these guys in places where they do not want to be.
Yeah, and
got
I don't
Rain Man
like
Joe tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ran the clip before of him, like his recap of the game, and it's just incredible. You have to pause it like 5 times to just be able to digest what he's going on about. But yeah, as far as putting a guard in the dunker spot, like I don't want to put you guys on the spot there, but as far as an adjustment, game 3 wise for the Mavs, like how do you counter that? Because that's like our counter to the Mavs going, we're going to try and shut down your 5-out basketball. Well, then we put a guy in the dunker spot, more of an old school formation there. There are blueprints to defending that kind of a formation. So like, do we just go back to 5 out if the Mavs adjust to that? Like, how do you think that looks in game 3, Sam?
to be honest with you, I think the Celtics are just going to keep doing what they're doing until Dallas makes a move. Like, thinking about it, I was like, maybe they try and run zone against the Celtics because they really don't trust any of these guys on the perimeter to guard. Like, no matter what you start with your matchups, you're going to end up having Luka or Kyrie get targeted. That's just what the Celtics have been doing. They've been running as many screens as possible. There's really only like 2 of their 5 starters who you would want guarding Boston's dominant scorers. You either want it to be Derek Jones, who's probably not strong enough to do it, or PJ Washington, who has shown he's the best. You probably don't want the center on Tatum. You don't want Luka on Tatum because Luka showed you he's not going to play defense in this game. This was a massive Luka play defense spot, and he didn't do it. And Kyrie just isn't really big enough, even though he's an irritant and he's trying to be a pest. Like, these guys are trying. Luka tried in the fourth quarter, but they are just not good enough. Like, that's all we heard going into the series, right? Like, all of us, like, doing preview pods would be like, well, Luka and Kyrie really aren't great defenders. Then you would have somebody pull up and be like, you don't know. They've been trying really hard in the playoffs. It's like, it doesn't matter. They had Porzingis get switched on a Kyrie in this game. It was baby food.
Yeah, dude. We tried to, I don't know, man, like all playoffs long, we have been giving respect to our opponents. And coming to this series, we were like, okay, look, Kyrie and Luka Doncic and the Mavs have been playing fantastic defense. But I watched every one of those games, and specifically the Minnesota Timberwolves did not make Luka work. They just didn't. And the Celtics, it's insane to me watching the flip between the last series and now and how involved Luka is defensively for the Mavericks in contrast to last series. And that has to do with how many threats the Celtics have offensively. Because like you there's nowhere to hide. But it was like, okay, I get that Luka's been better. And honestly, he's almost doing better than I thought still in this series prior to the playoffs, where it's like he's containing like the first attack from Jaylen or Jason, but then they're like pulling it back and then hitting him with another cross and then going back the other way. It's just like you can maybe contain the first drive, pull it back, another cross, contain again. But that's so hard, dude. That's so hard. He's not going to stop these guys possession after possession after possession after possession. Like, that's the thing about this whole matchup. It's like, we don't believe. Actually, I have the tweet here from Trey, friend of the pod here. Missoula is really running the you're too fat to get 60 defense versus Luka.
Yeah.
And it's perfect, dude. Keep it running, dude. Like, obviously 2 days off helps Horford, but like 2 days off in theory should help Luka. But like, this dude's getting worse on the injury report every day. It's just like we're going from clean to probable to questionable. Like, what are we going to see for game 3?
See them wrap him up pregame, like they wanted him to look like he'd been through battle. Over his warm-ups, they had the wrap over his stomach, the wrap over his knee. It all felt a little bit too much. Like, I get it. Luka's knees have been banged up all playoffs. He took that dumbass charge in game 1. Like, I don't feel bad about that. That was like a 2K, you hold B on the fast break and hopes of getting the thing and the game gives it to you, and your buddy spikes the controller foul. Like, that's not something you see in real life. That was bullshit.
They never call that. They never call that. Insane for him to even try that. And look, man, he went 9 for 13 in the first half. I don't think it's a knee problem. It's a fucking conditioning problem. I'm sorry, dude. Like, sure, like, how much better can you play than 9 for 13? Maybe he makes 2 of those free throws and he goes for 25 instead of 23 in the first half. But, like, it's a conditioning problem. Maybe he sorts it out next year. But, like, he is not built for us to play this type of style where we're going to dare you to you have to score 50. You got to score 50, and we're cooking you possession after possession.
He's the mopiest guy ever, too.
Yeah, well, I would be sad too if my lack of fitness was clearly the catalyst for my whole team's issues deep into a playoff run. And it was like low key a great Luka game. He had some crazy like behind the shoulder sick passes to his teammates. He had that awesome when he got trapped on the baseline kick out to Dante Exum. Shout out the Aussie there who hit his lone 3-point attempt, and it was a great Luka game. But like he's just, people are saying in the chat, he's just not conditioned for this kind of attention deep into a postseason run, and we're using that to our full advantage. But it was a great Luka game to a point. Like, he was cooking early, but like I started the show with Jake, you were keeping me calm throughout the playback streams. Don't worry, he's gonna get tired, and boy, he did. Well, let's just run down a few more individual performances in this one before we wrap this up. And JB didn't have like the standout game I think that he had in game one, but like still really effective. I think just like solid, which is not something that we've really been able to say about Jaylen Brown throughout the duration of his career so far. But 7 assists, another 3 steals. I want to ignore the 6 turnovers, but they have to be mentioned. But Sam, like another like excluding the negative plus minus, I think we can call it like generally a net positive game for Jaylen again in game 2, right?
Yeah, Jaylen has just continued to be nails as these playoffs have gone on. He obviously won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He was great in game 1 of this series. He carries it over into this game in a little bit of a lesser degree, but he was setting up teammates too. Like he was doing what Tatum was doing, did it a little less efficiently. You mentioned the turnovers, 7 assists to 6 turnovers. Not always what you want to see, but he didn't do dumb things. Jaylen is not taking tough fall away fadeaways at the free throw line anymore. Not even that those are bad shots for him because he makes them, but they just don't need to do that. They're too good for that. There's other options there. There's better shots, and he's helping his teammates get to it. I loved what we saw from him. Jaylen has really emerged to me as a leader in this series and also in the last series. He's talking the talk at the press conferences. He's calling out the crowd. He wants them to bring the energy, but he's also bringing the energy. This guy is locked in on defense. He's a nightmare for Luka. Every time Luka has the ball, he's begging for 2 screens so Jaylen will not be guarding him anymore. He is petrified of Jaylen.
Dude, I can only imagine how much you love Jaylen's comments being like, it's supermarket on supermarket. There, it's everyone.
Gas station on gas station.
Like, stop.
Yeah, dude, this is equipment management team on equipment management team. Mm-hmm. This is what we're talking about. And yeah, like, there's no question that Jaylen Brown has become the emotional leader of this team. And that's great. It's beautiful. Someone needed to do it. After Marcus Smart went out the door and Jaylen Brown has been that guy. I loved the mic'd up stuff from him tonight. Yeah, like what's funny is like I always feel like Jaylen Brown has a deal with the scorers where a couple of his turnovers don't get, taken down, and he finishes with 3 when he should have finished with 5. But I don't feel like this is one of those. Like I was stunned when I saw the 6 turnovers. I did not think that he had a really bad turnover game when I was watching it live. So I'll go back and watch it, and maybe I'm, I just missed it or whatever. I know he had a travel, which doesn't usually get called for and doesn't feel like a turnover as bad as like a live ball thing, and 4 for 4 from the free throw line. So,
nails.
Well,
even though he got a free one because of the lane violation.
Yeah. Well, that's true, but it was a lane violation. So just don't break the rules, PJ Washington, and we'll have to deal with that.
Yeah, idiot.
Yeah, dumbass.
That's an idiot. Whoever wins Finals MVP, and we won't end on who's the front runner for that, but whoever wins, Jaylen Brown has the I'm not going to fucking let us lose trophy so far. He just has that air about him. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll accrue 6 turnovers through my effort to keep us winning, if that makes any sense at all, just through my hustle and tenacity. And if there are mental lapses along the way because of how locked in I am, then that's fine. But Jaylen Brown just feels like he has the biggest air of I'm not going to let this fucking team lose, which is awesome to see and aligns with this whole leadership narrative that's emerged with him this playoff run. We'll get to Porzingis in a second. We can do Pritchard very quickly, who Jaylen Brown said that Pritchard checked himself in to close. Was it the second quarter or the third quarter where he came in with 3 seconds to go, third quarter, and banked? Huge. We've got the replay here from the playback stream, which is incredibly high. Let me find it. Here we go.
Put Pritchard in. Here he goes.
Do your thing, man. Do your thing.
Pritchard!
Pritchard! Oh! That's what he does. That's what he does. In the finals. That's what
How
he does.
did he do that?
Dude, yeah, it's like I was born for this shit. Is this the closest thing, Sam, to a PJ Brown moment in the finals so far, where you just get this epic punch off the bench. And yeah, it's not like he's coming out and scoring in volume, but in terms of like back-breaking things that you can do to your opponent to just like crush their mentality and their enthusiasm, like that's got to be up there, right?
Yeah, so I was talking to Jack about this. Like, this was not a small moment. They had just let the Mavs cut it to 6 after being up 12 with like a couple minutes to go in the third. They really didn't close as well as they would have liked. And then he comes in, halves the run that the Mavs made, and all of a sudden they're going into the fourth quarter looking pretty comfortable. This reminded me of the Jordan Poole shots from the finals from 2 years ago, where you just wanted to like put your head in the microwave after this bum makes a heave 3, and you're like, again, he did it again. So I assume we're due for another one this series, right? Like, you have to expect this now.
This is what he does. This is what he does, dude. Like, and I'm so glad that he checked himself in. Dude. Check yourself in.
It's Peyton Pritchard time. Peyton Pritchard. Literally, like, this is the real life version of that meme. Yeah.
You realize now he was 0 for 7 in game 1. He's 1 for 2 in game 2. So he's 1 for 8. And the one shot that he did hit was a 38-foot banker at the end of the third quarter to put the Celtics back up 9 after giving up a 6-0 run. Huge moment, dude. Huge fucking moment. The guy, actually, the offense has been like not good, obviously, besides that shot. He's been really solid defensively, bro. Like, he has been actually making Luka work for buckets. Like, Luka gets PP on him and he's like, okay, I'm going to go to work. And that's fine. He goes to work. Pritchard's forced him to take only jumpers. Like, that's all you can ask for, dude. And then like there was like the inverse of game 1 where PP got caught on Luka and Derek White came in for the steal, which led to a transition bucket. This time was like the opposite. Pritchard came from behind, got a steal on Luka. They went back the other way. Like, for him to be this solid despite being 1 for 8, like, this is all you need right now, dude. This Celtics team is so good, so talented. Like, the fact that at home that Hauser and Pritchard off the bench combined for 1 for 7 from 3, 1 for 7 from the field too. It's like, you'd think that would hurt. It obviously does, but like, I think there's gonna be another spike game where they go 3 for 4, and they stole the bad shooting game. You cannot lose the bad shooting game to the Boston Celtics.
For them, like, they're 3-point specialists in the case of Hauser and PP, and for them to come out, PP is small relative to your average NBA size. Hauser undrafted, and that their worst case, they come out and sorry, Jake, they come out and defend well is amazing in terms of your bench depth, where they've held up particularly well on Luka, like you said, and PP's had a number of possessions where he just sticks on Kyrie's hip and makes the ability to get a shot off, at least with his dominant hand. Kyrie mentioned after the game they were forcing him to go left a bunch of times. Like, Pritchard is aware of the defensive assignments, and if the shots aren't going down for either of these guys, the fact that they can still hold up as well as they do defensively is a massive win for going that deep into your roster in the finals, where you could be excused for only going 6, maybe 7 deep max. These guys are coming in at the 7 and 8 spot and holding up well on the biggest stage. Kristaps Porzingis, to move on, and as we start to wrap up here, says he's feeling good. Joe Missoula said that there was, quote, no chance that he re-injured his calf, which is great. He also said, with regards to playing in Game 3, that he'll, quote, I will die out there, which is what you love to hear at this stage of the game, right? Where it's like, we just want to fucking win this thing, man. Like, yeah, come out and play and give us what you can. And that's what he did in this one. He came out and he scored pretty efficiently, Jake. Lower volume usage. I think the Mavs had a better understanding of like what he's capable of, with a better breadth of knowledge and data as to, how far he's along in his recovery. They did defend him a little better, but he took his opportunities. He got a number of post-up looks. He knocked a bunch of shots down. He was great as a rim deterrent as well. Like, he might be like the best theoretical 6 man in the game right now.
I know, dude.
He's an incredible asset off the bench.
Before the series, we asked, was Al Horford the 2024 version of Bill Walton? But I mean, in the finals so far, it's been Kristaps Porzingis coming off the bench being this impactful. He was actually a team high plus 12. The next closest was Derek White at plus 8. He ends up with 12 points on 7 shots. Doesn't hit his threes, but we had the classic Kristaps Porzingis free throw grifting. Got himself to the line, grifted at least one free throw, like on a screen, bouncing around, like when they were in the bonus. Like, he was very impactful. I don't feel like I've got a good answer on what's happening from an injury front so far. They're making it seem like it wasn't the calf. I'm not 100% sure it's not the calf. I don't feel super confident that it's not the calf, but so it feels like it's not the calf. But I don't know. Sam?
I'll tell you who could not have been more excited about the injury was Doris Burke. She could not. She was giving us the scowl where she was like, I think he's dead. He's going to have his leg amputated on the court. Kristaps today was efficient. I love that he made his buckets. He got to his spots. We actually saw him in the low post. Like last game, I was kind of worried because he was getting his catches like way out near the 3-point line. I was like, do we really think he's going to be able to operate consistently from there throughout the whole series? And today he got in really great spots. Like you said, gripped it to the free throw line. His 2 blocks, loud, extremely loud. And they were at huge momentum shifting spots. He got, I want to say Gafford when Dallas was making a late push, I think in the third quarter. Like that was huge. That can't be understated. Like those are clutch plays from him. And if he's hurt, I don't think he is. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Joe Missoula all of a sudden is a doctor now after telling us for weeks and weeks and weeks, I have no information. I'm not the medical staff. I don't know anything about this. Don't ask me. He came right out and squashed it right away. I don't think they would do that. Like they wouldn't want to put pressure on him to play. And him saying that he's going to be out there makes me think he's going to be. Again, he might look like the guy that was limping around there at the end of in the middle of the fourth quarter and Dallas was pushing back, but he's got a couple days to rest and get over it. Yep. I'm hoping it was just a dead leg. It didn't look like it was anything serious. I mean, you guys watched it on TV.
Yeah, if it was the calf, I have to think that he would have come out straight away.
Yeah, it wasn't the hand up, like, look over to the bench, please take me out. He was still getting up and down the court. Like, obviously, he looked hobbled and he got blown by a few times. So there was clearly something going on there. People in the chat saying it was his right ankle, which feels weird to say. I hope that is his right ankle and instead of his left calf, I believe it was. But that would obviously be huge, especially with the 2 days rest coming up and the fact that we're up 2-0. Speaking of which, up 2-0, Sam, game 3 coming up in 2 days' time. We'll wrap up on this. So Jake's got one more point. What's up?
To frame this next piece here.
You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy or you're only half happy or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished? I don't think so.
I know it's
Kobe, but he's very Jaylen and whatever. But like that's the classic 2-0 means nothing. Let's keep this thing going.
I needed to hear that because I was about to get pretty crazy with the fact that we're up 2-0 and the fact that we've been so good on the road so far all year and all playoffs. But Sam, Jake, Sam, we'll throw to you first as our guest. Like, how are you feeling, mentality-wise heading into Game 3 and your confidence about the Celtics' ability to at least get one on the road here?
I mean, they haven't lost on the road. They've been fantastic on the road. I think Dallas is almost at a breaking point. Like, if you go and look at Luka's post-game, guy's miserable. He went right away. Jack was telling me 10 minutes after the game ended, he's in there talking to reporters. For perspective, the reason why I was late to this is because we wait to record our morning show after Jason Tatum talks. He takes forever. It takes the entire night to get out there.
Yes.
I feel pretty good, man. I think Kyrie's really rattled. And what do you guys think of the Kyrie thing? Are you guys over it? Do you care anymore? There's really mixed feelings on this. There are people on one end of the spectrum that are I hate this guy so much. And there are other people that are you're weird if you still care about this. I'm just curious, where you guys land.
I don't give a shit, but you cannot deny the effect that the Garden crowd has on Kyrie. And we have this data going back multiple series, multiple seasons at this point, Jake. So I was initially not against the booing, but just there's no need for it. It's been so long and we wouldn't have what we have now if Kyrie had stuck around. And in a weird way, we have him to be thankful for in that sense. So I'm over it, but it's clear that the Garden crowd has some sort of, detrimental effect on Kyrie, Jake.
Yeah, I don't give two shits about Kyrie at this point. I think he's he knows no idea what he's talking about. You hear these quotes post game. I watch the interviews. He thinks he's so fucking smart.
Well, that's where I'm at.
I'm he's just annoying. Doesn't seem that different to me when I watch the interviews. He's kind of in the honeymoon phase still. He's in 1.5 years with Dallas. Let's see how he goes 3 years in or whatever if things don't go that well. But Yeah, I don't hate him either way. But like, hey, Celtics fans, keep booing him because it's working.
They were like trying to like prop Kyrie up yesterday when he had that long quote about how he feels about like the city and like people that aren't the arena like will show respect to him, and he was like, it's like a mutual respect, and he actually did sound like he was about to like show some growth. Then he was like, hey everybody, remember that time the guy threw the water bottle at me?
Yes.
Everybody here. Like, you're absolutely right, Jake, and I'm so sick of like the circle jerk of him like being like grown or whatever, and like, you guys shouldn't hate him anymore. He's so different now. He doesn't care. It's like, he clearly cares. He won't shut the fuck up about it. I know he keeps getting asked, but he could like put it to bed and be like, yeah, yes, like I was wrong, and like, you know, I get it, and leave it at that. But he doesn't. He's like, yeah, like even they asked him about animosity, right? Like I think the guy said animosity to him. He's like, no, it's hate. Like he was like, just in case, like, no, like I'm still a victim, everybody. So no, I saw Doc Riven say Jack
trauma response.
No,
the whole thing,
sick of this guy. I'm glad he's playing awful.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, these games on the road obviously are going to be harder and, you know, a lot different a look for the C's, but just 2 games without this whole Kyrie versus the Boston crowd narrative, that's going to be refreshing, at least to do away with that for the next 2 games, no matter what happens. But Jake, how are you feeling going into game 3? Like, I get the sense you know, job's not finished and all that, but it's hard not to be confident just with how much better we've looked and the different flavors of the 2 wins so far. Like, we've beaten them in 2 very different ways now, I think.
Yeah, man, it's hard to not feel confident right now, but like at the same time, like this is the game. This is the game. Like if you're Dallas, obviously, no shit, you can't go down 3-0. So like whatever their punch is, crowd, home, like they have to win this game, whatever it's going to be. And man, the Celtics love game 3s. So I know Tatum loves game 3s more than anyone else. He said that. So come out, man. Who knows? Like they're going to be ready to go, but maybe this is like the Celtics just have a crazy first quarter, and it's like let's go. I feel great right now, but let's see it, man. 2-0.
If we get that 3-0, and I do feel like JT's a bit of a road dog as well, as far as you just know your role players aren't going to perform, like statistically and historically speaking, to the level that they have at home on the road. So it's guys like JT and JB who are going to have to step up and be a little bit more efficient and productive from a scoring perspective compared to what they've been so far in this series. So we'll see. But yeah, if we get that 3-0 lead or even that 3-1 lead heading back to Boston, it's going to be hard not to preemptively fire up those mental duck boats at that point. Any parting thoughts, guys?
I had to pee so bad.
Exciting times. So you got to pee so bad.
I got to get out of here, dude.
All right, we got to wrap this up. Sam, any long,
drawn
out thoughts at all?
please don't do it, Sam. But if we go ahead, if you
guys want me to go through my 7,000 word Celtic villains article.
Yeah, I've got a long write up here. I just want to run by you guys real quick, if that's okay.
Oh man!
Look, 2 more wins. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Big shout out to the chat. Thanks for joining us here in the live stream. Jake, Sam, love your work, guys. Until next time, go Celtics.